I got listed. Tim Pool sent me this thing next to Richard Spencer as being a far-right influencer.
An alt-right influencer, yeah.
Far-right.
Was it?
They called me far-right.
That's amazing.
I'm left. They're liars.
Yeah, I know.
I am fucking left-wing.
Who did that, though?
I'm almost a socialist.
Yeah.
I consider universal basic income a really good idea. Yeah. I want free college education.
Take it easy.
I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit.
The more money you spend, the problem is money doesn't solve the problem.
That's the problem.
Listen, you son of a bitch.
I feel it coming out of your pores.
Listen,
right
you
now.
socialist. Why don't you leave my country?
I'm 1.6% African, so watch your fucking mouth.
Dude, no wonder you're so compassionate. Compassion's everything.
But I think these people are too compassionate. This is what the problem is. They're like, oh, you identify as a wood elf. Oh, cool. You're an elf. Yeah. I don't want to, like whatever, your feelings. And here's the thing. They're terrified of someone coming after them. Yeah. So they try to embrace, the more preposterous, the better.
Yeah.
Like they're having a real hard time now with this woman, the congresswoman, who said a bunch of anti-Semitic shit.
Yeah.
Who's
or anti-Israeli stuff, right?
Anti-Israeli shit. Is it anti-Semitic? Has she said anything bad about Jews in general?
I think she might have said anti-Israeli stuff, which I think you can make a distinction.
Yes, you should be able to.
I think you should be able to make an intelligent argument that there is a difference between being not anti-Israeli, but having problems with their policies and Jews, right? Because there are a lot of Jews that are critical of Israel as well.
100%.
Yeah, so it's... but sometimes to silence you and stop the argument. Yeah. I'm not familiar with what she said exactly, but
I'm not either.
Yeah. But go on. What were you saying about the problem?
They don't know what to do with her. They're stuck in this weird spot because they don't like. Here's a perfect example. Where was it? Was it? So it was somewhere in Europe where this Muslim group was shouting down this LBGT demonstration, and everybody's like, oh well, Jesus, what do we do here? We have two protected classes going to war with each other.
Yeah,
and one of them is shouting down the other one, saying that homosexuality is forbidden by God, but then we're supposed to be protective of LBGT people. We're supposed to be open-minded and progressive and allowing them, but then you have these people who are saying that it's their religion, that they think that this is wrong, and this is also a protected class. You don't want to be Islamophobic. So what does everyone do? Well, everyone stands back. And this is one of the weird moments where people are standing back while LBGT people are getting absolutely crucified in the streets, yelled at with bullhorns, told they're sinners and blasphemers.
But that actually is part of free speech, right? So
sure.
So it's part of being able to organize and express yourself, organize and petition your government. That's constitutional as long as you don't incite someone to violence, as long as you don't say, hey, you guys go kill those gay people over there.
Bro, I'm not talking about constitutionally. I mean, constitutionally, I agree. It is free speech. But what I'm saying is that there's no outrage. There's no commensurate outrage like there would be if, say, like white nationalists were screaming at these people.
So here's my issue with the far left or the left, or even, forget the right for a second. I have my own issues with that. But with the progressive argument, I always notice that the narrative is very binary. The narrative is always, so for example, racism is the argument, right? So if we need to get rid of racism, I happen to think we could be as identical as penguins and we'd still find reasons to break into us versus them.
Well, we'd have an ideological
of course we did. Look at the Middle East. If racism was the ultimate problem, then the Middle East would be fairly,
or it would be a
Sunnis and Shia, the Igbo and the Yoruba. I mean, I can keep going there'd be all kinds of, so people that look at the Dinka and the Nua of the Sudan, sworn enemies, they look exactly the same. So human beings don't need to have different colored skin.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So we are tribal, and it's fun to break into these us versus them. I think the biggest problem is kind of deciding that, first of all, the internet has made it very possible for you to purify your echo chamber.
Yes.
That's a big problem. And then you surround yourself with people who think and see the world exactly like yourself. And I think we get smarter when we listen to the other side, even if you don't agree with them, because your ideas aren't working and their ideas aren't working, but put your ideas together and maybe somebody gets pregnant with a new idea.
Yeah, the ideas that there's some way that you could stop all division between human beings as long as people are allowed to express themselves and they live unique and individual lives. That's never going to happen.
No.
You're going to have people that come from different parts of the world where different things are more important. You're going to have people that come from different economic situations. It's going to be different. I mean, when I say that I'm almost a socialist, what I mean is like, look, there's certain things that we just accept that we need. Like, here's one. You need a well-funded fire department. Right? Whose money? Everybody, we're pooling all our money into that. Right, right. We agree with that. We agree there's well-funded public education. You have to have that, right? Well, we barely do that right now, but we do have that. And teachers are getting fucked left and right. They're getting minimal pay. Children are going to school in hazardous conditions, but it's at least there's some money being put. Police officers, we agree. So street fixing the streets, we agree. We agree on a lot of things. But then it gets to certain things, we go, okay, well, that's where we draw the line. Well, why do we draw the line there? Why do we draw the line when it comes to community upheavals, like fixing communities?
Yeah.
Why do we? I mean, infrastructure. Like, why don't we have like? Why don't we? If we're really a team, or if the United States is really a team, why don't we look at it as a team in terms of equal allocation of resources to solve conflicts and problems, including crime? We don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
We
a
don't.
lot of times the problem is isolating the source of the problem.
Right.
So people disagree on what the actual problem is. I can give you examples. I mean, when we talk about illegal immigration and what to actually do about it, people are all over the board with it. And they'll challenge your solution in court, and there's all kinds of stalemates, which probably is a good thing so things don't they don't swing too far in either direction. Universal basic income, universal health care, gun control. These are actually fairly complicated issues. You know, I don't want spree shooters, you know, but when you get down to it and you hear people who are really educated on the subject of guns, they can get you twisted up in an argument if you start talking about gun control, because you realize this is a complicated issue, and maybe it's a mental health issue, maybe it's 1,000 issue. You know,
It's certainly a mental health
There's
issue.
a lot of issues with it, but
the ability that someone has to do what is it only one guy? More than one person got arrested in New Zealand, correct?
no, I think it was just one guy.
Yeah, more when they got arrested, but only one shooter,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
So the other ones were planning it.
They
Is that
thought
what
they
it was?
were maybe, yeah.
No,
Maybe.
I think he was. Yeah, but my thing is
my
that
point is, like,
yeah.
you have to be ill. There's no
Of
other
course
way.
you do. Of
There's-
course you
you have to be mentally ill in order to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to think about the fact there's more guns than there are people. So in this country alone, there's 300 plus million people. There's more than 300 million guns. Relatively speaking, the number of mass shootings is incredibly small in
Right.
comparison to the amount of guns and the amount of sick people. I mean, how many people are sick who don't become mass shooters?
Right.
It's a big number.
Yes, it's very true. Those are things, and a lot of the gun violence that the left talks about, a lot of those are suicides. So
A lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of that is suicides. A lot of it is cops shooting bad guys. A lot of it is people defending themselves. And then after that, you have gang violence.
But so the problem is that when people argue, they make these things very simplistic.
Yeah.
And they're not. You know, even identity politics. I mean, you know, so straight white males are essentially the enemy. So the idea would be if we take straight white males out of the equation, because this is all power, right? It's all
Talking to Amy Schumer lately
it's-
or something?
No, but no, I'm not. But this tyrannical hierarchy and stuff, as if you took white males and took all of them out of the equation, as if there wouldn't be a new hierarchy.
Yeah.
That's fucking, you know, it's just the way shit happens. People, when you try to make things really equal in a communist society, the people closest to the government making the decisions, they become the new elite. So you're not going to fucking
No.
avoid that shit.